Hey guys, welcome to FatherStack's Rambling Reviews, and I'm FatherStack. Just a new series film reviews I plan on doing. Instead of, inserting film clips and that, I'm just going to rant about the film, give information, maybe talk about the background, a little bit of the plot synopsis, and just give my opinions and, bits and bobs. Because I love talking about films, and I miss talking about films, so this is my way of getting on my... not film knowledge. I don't mean that to be a balm. I don't mean to sound kind of arrogant with that, but just I love talking about films, so I thought, go for it. So, I watched a movie called The Initiation. I've taken notes on it, and I thought, I'll go through it. And before I go through it, I'll talk about how I came to know about the film. And I watched a little documentary. I say a little documentary, it was about an hour and a half, and it came free with I say free, it was the third disc on the 3-disc edition of The Last House on the Left DVD that I got years ago. Oh, Going to Pieces. Going to Pieces it was called. The slasher documentary or something. Great little documentary. I love slasher films, so this documentary, the rise, and that was it. Going to Pieces, the rise and fall of the slasher film. That was it. And it's a great little documentary. It shows how, how it started with, Psycho and Halloween, and then kind of you got this big build-up of horror films in the 80s, and then kind of went downhill towards the 90s before kind of Scream kind of took off again. And throughout the whole film, they show posters and video covers of all these films. And one of the many films that caught my attention, because that's how they grabbed their audience most of the time, was via their video covers. In fact, that's how pretty much the Video Nasties list started, which I talk about quite often in podcasts and that. So one of the ones that caught my attention was The Initiation. And if you look at this cover, you see why, because it's like a woman as a candle. You can see she's burning there, and you see the wax dripping. But if you notice the hand there, the way it's gripping it, it's clearly a dick ejaculating. So I thought, okay, what can this movie be like? This should be interesting. So I watched it and I'll go through it. So I'll give a quick synopsis of the plot. And it starts off with a girl who hears her parents having sex. So she walks through the room. She just hears noises. So she walks through the room and sees her parents having sex. So she does what probably any normal kid would do. She stabs her dad in the leg. No, most kids would probably run out the room, probably scream, cover their eyes. She stabs her dad in the leg. And as it happens, a man walks through the door like an intruder, and the dad kind of panics and throws what I can assume is vodka or some sort of spirit on the guy, and he falls into a fireplace. I don't know what a fireplace is doing in the bedroom, but maybe that's an American thing. I don't know. So he falls into the fireplace and he burns, and he kind of and then she wakes up from the dream, and she's part of when she wakes up, you find out that she's part of one of these sororities that you get in like American colleges and universities. We don't get that here. We get colleges and universities, but we don't get like these fraternities and sororities. We don't get that kind of thing. You hear about this, what do you call it? Is it like a hazing? I think that's the word, where they do like these pranks, the initiation test thing. If I've got that wrong, tell me in the comments. Let me know what hazing actually is. I assume that's when they play pranks on like on the people joining the sororities, the pledges, and they get their pep talk, and they're told that what they have to do is break into a department store, like a shopping centre, a shopping mall, and steal a security guard uniform from his badge to his skivvies, as they say in the film. So it goes from there, and then you meet your mum and dad. The dad is played by a guy called Clu Gallagher. I keep on saying Gallagher, so Gallagher's Clu Gulager, and he was an old cowboy actor. He's in Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and Return of the Living Dead and stuff like that. And it's got Psycho's Vera Miles, who played Lila Crane in Psycho, and Psycho 2, and they're the parents. And they reveal that the girl from the that had the dream, Carrie, she had an accident, fell from a treehouse and lost her memory. And so the girl goes, well, she's at her uni. She goes to get she goes to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I always forget which is which. What's a psychologist? I know there's a big difference, but off the top of my head, I can't quite remember. So he's evaluating her against against her mum's. Her mum's like, no, you're not seeing this guy. End of story. But she goes to see him anyway, and he tries and get her to relive her memories. And in between all this, they end up going to actually, I missed out that there's a tiny little scene set in a sanitarium where a bunch of patients break out, and the gardener is the man that was burned in the fire, clearly setting up the red herring. As soon as I saw it, I was like, he's the red herring, but we'll get into that as it goes. And there's a breakout, and one of the nurses is killed. So, as the film goes on, various people die. The dad dies. This is a slasher film. You know people are going to die. It's not really a spoiler. And sorry, take a drink. And they go to the shopping centre. I should add, the shopping centre is owned by Kelly's dad, Chloe Gulager. And she takes his keys, they break in, and the head of the sorority hires three frat boys, these frat guys, to kind of scare them, to spook them while they're trying to get this uniform. And while they go to the shopping centre, they get butchered, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the brief synopsis. And I'll go into the bits and bobs of the film. I'll go through my notes. As I said, when they go into the shopping centre, it's owned by the dad, somebody Fairchild, because she's Kerry Fairchild. Can't remember his first name, but all the way through, every time you see the shopping centre, you see the sign that says Fairchild's building, the Fairchild building. You see it 6-7 times. Every time it cuts from a scene and then goes back to the shopping centre, you see the Fairchild building, you see the little sign. It's like, yeah, we'll kind of get that. There's a lot of the killings are done by a mini pitchfork. I counted three killings are done by this one weapon, which I have. There's parts of this film I like, parts of it I don't like. The first 3/4 of an hour, first 45 minutes of it, I kind of enjoyed it, and then it kind of lost momentum for me. I kind of think it went downhill after the dad died. Which reminds me, after the dad dies, right, he gets the garden fork. It's only a little mini garden fork, like one of the ones you used to scoop up weeds with. He gets stabbed in the chest, and then you see via shadow him getting his head cut off, and then the mum goes looking for him. She runs out of the house. Vera Miles' character runs out of the house looking for him, and she sees the car driving off, and she says, and this is a quote, she says, "Sometimes I think that man would forget his head if it wasn't attached." And it was like, I can see what they were doing there. In my opinion, it wasn't funny. It's just like, oh god, of course they went there. It was amusing of anything. I say, it starts off good, but it gets a little bit boring once I hit the shopping centre. It also goes on too long. It's 97 minutes long, and for a slasher film, that's I love slasher films. I genuinely, absolutely love slasher films, and I've actually got a big collection of slasher films here. And 97 minutes is a long time for this kind of film. It is. It's just it drags. Especially after the killings start happening. Especially there's maybe 2 killings, and then they go into the shopping centre. Once it goes into the shopping centre, I'm like, the momentum slows down. I don't know. There's also a problem with a lot of the characters are really forgettable. The only 2 I liked was the girl Kelly, the psychiatrist guy Peter Adams. He was quite good, and I liked the mum and dad, even though the mum's a complete bitch. I don't know. She was a shitty character, but Vera Miles was really good at playing her, and I liked the dad as well. So when he died, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. So, what else have I got here? Yeah, yeah. There's a scene where where they have one of these frat parties, these wild, drinking, and I don't know if they're supposed to be underage or what, but I don't give a shit. So they're drinking and they're dressed in some, not togas. It's not like Animal House, but but they're dressed in various uniforms and stuff. And there's one guy you see walking down the street. I don't know if he's in any other scenes of the film, but he's dressed as a penis. He's just dressed as this big furry pink dick with the big hairy balls. I just thought, okay, that's really amusing. It's also a film that it tries to be humorous, but the humour doesn't really sit with me very well. So I got a great sense of humour, I think. I laugh at loads of stuff, but this just, it was lame. That's the only word I can describe it. It's like the jokes and the so-called humour didn't do anything for me. Yeah, there's also an awful lot of point of view shots. Every time because it's not a masked killer, it's just a guy. So, going around stabbing people with various equipment. Sometimes it's a bow and arrow and things like that, but mostly the fork. Mostly the fork. Yeah, it's all point of view shots. So take a drink every time you see a point of view shot or a Fairchild building sign. Just see how long it takes for you to get absolutely pissed out of your head. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this film. It is a cult film. I love cult films. I like to try and see, especially ones I've not seen, see what the big deal is. So I really, really wanted to see this. This is one I was really excited to see, and I didn't get anything from it. It started off quite well, like I say, for the first 45 minutes. And it's paced really badly. This is going to sound like sacrilege, especially as somebody who says he loves horror films. I love horror films, I really, really do. But it's paced almost as badly as the first Friday the 13th film. I love the Friday the 13th series. I don't like the first one. I think the series really starts off, really gets good from the second one. So obviously it's got its ups and downs, but the first one is badly paced. You can't deny it. The pacing is awful, and I get bored with it. Don't get us wrong, the special effects in it are really good, and I love some of the kills. Tom Savini is a fucking master, but it's boring. I find it tests my patience. And another thing, it's the biggest problem I have with Initiation is the twist. Oh my god, the twist. I don't know if this is a love it or hate it twist, but I hated it. So as these killings are going on, it turns out that the killer is, obviously spoiler alert. Actually no, it's not a spoiler because it makes no fucking sense. It would have to make sense for it to be a spoiler. It turns out that it's the twin sister of Kelly, the main girl, who she didn't know existed. She didn't know she had this twin sister. Yeah, it turns out to be this twin sister who's going around killing everybody. And this is after, when she's in the shopping centre, towards the end, after everybody's died, she's running about screaming for help, and she sees the burned guy. The guy that, the dad. I should also add, this burned guy is her actual dad. The psychiatrist and his assistant go looking through these files trying to figure out what happened. And it turns out that the gardener guy, the burned gardener, is actually her dad, and she stabbed, or rather the twin stabbed, the fake dad, who the mum was having an affair with. But that doesn't make any sense on why there's a twin. It would have made much more sense to me had the real dad who was burned went and started killing everybody as revenge on him getting set on fire or something. That would have made maybe a little bit more sense, but they just completely pull this twist out of their arse. It's like, for me, for a twist to work, you've got to at least allude to it in some way. Yeah, they allude to the gardener guy, so it kind of would have made sense, but they don't allude to any twin at any other point in the film, and at no point do the mad people who escaped come back into it. They say that she was one of the people that escaped. The evil twin was one of the people that escaped. Yet, why do you not see her inside the asylum unless it's a blink and you miss it thing? But in my opinion, that's not good enough. It's like, at least show her as one of the inmates, and reference the fact that she's got a twin before pulling it and out of your arse. It's like, I feel almost the same way about, again, going back to Friday the 13th, the whole Palma Voorhees thing. It's like, you're wondering who the killer is the whole time, and suddenly it's like, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. It's like, who are you? It's like, you've not been in the film all this time, and suddenly you're here, and you're the killer. It's like, it doesn't make sense. And I know she explains it all, saying, oh yeah, my son is the boy that was killed in the lake, and Crystal Lake, and all the rest of it, but it just doesn't quite do it for me, yeah. And that's kind of why I prefer the sequels, is because Jason's the killer all the way through it, and there's not really nothing wrong with a twist. I love a good twist. This isn't a good twist. It comes out of nowhere, and pulling a twist out of nowhere doesn't make a good twist. It doesn't. So that's a big problem for me. It's almost like it was a dream the whole time. Nah. I'm sorry, it doesn't do it for me. Right, so I'll get on to kind of bit of not behind the scenes, but a little bit of the bits and bobs of the film. So, pros. I've talked about a lot of what I didn't like, but things I do like. The women in this film, really stunning women, really beautiful. Especially the lead girl, what's her name? Daphne Zuniga, I don't know. She had a bit part in Pieces, the movie Pieces, also known as The Doll That Dripped Blood, where she gets her head crushed by a car. Or so I'm told. I've not seen Pieces, but apparently she gets her head crushed by a car. And she is gorgeous. She is, especially in scenes where she has less makeup on. I noticed there's scenes where she's kind of dolled up, and she looks great. She looks fantastic. But the scenes where she's got less makeup on, I just thought, it's almost, no disrespect, this isn't a bad thing, but it's almost like a plain beauty, if you know what I mean. It's a very kind of almost natural, and yeah, she looks great. There's a lot of nudity, so that's also a bonus. Like I say, the guys that go in there to kind of scare her, they're meant to be the comic relief. They don't do it for me. Even though that's a con. I was mentioning pros, wasn't I? Some of the kills are alright. It's kind of gory in places. It's not overly gory. I could kind of, I know this film was heavily cut in the UK. Kind of understand why, especially in the 80s where everything was being banned and that. There's an odd scene where one of the girls follow Kelly into the shopping mall. They're just sitting down, and out of nowhere talks about being sexually abused when she was 12 years old. And for what's meant to be a kind of a fun slasher film, I personally didn't find it that fun. But for what's meant to be a fun slasher film, it's just so out of nowhere. It's like, am I watching the same film? What's this? And that was just out of nowhere. The acting's pretty good in most places. Not most places, some places. Like I say, the girl Daphne Zuniga, she's pretty good. Chloe Gulager, he's always good. He was in a lot of horror films from the 80s. And I think that was like a revival for him, not like a John Travolta Pulp Fiction kind of way, because he never made it huge, obviously. But he was in a lot. I think he played a little bit parts in westerns from the 50s and 60s. Because he's kind of an older guy. I think he's in his 90s now. And he was in Feast. He's in the Feast films. I think there's 3 Feast films, and they are directed by his son. So he's got a little part in them. I think he's a bartender in them. So he seems to be still acting for a guy in his 80s, 90s, you know. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And the first like 3/4 of an hour of it, pretty enjoyable. Had my attention. I really liked the character of Kelly, and I really liked Peter Adams, the psychiatrist guy. He was a good guy, and you know, you don't want to see him die. I'm not going to spoil whether or not he dies, actually, because I quite liked him. This was originally directed by a guy called Larry Stewart, and he was the reason for what's her name? Vera Miles wanted to do this film. She thought he was great. She obviously met him and stuff, and she thought he was great. And she was going to do like 2 days of filming for him. She thought, yeah, and then he done the asylum scenes and got sacked. Either spent too much of the budget, or he was running over time or something. He got the sack. So when she went to do her scenes, it was another director called Peter Crane, and she I don't think she was very happy about that, but to give her a due, she'd done the film anyway. I hope that was entertaining enough. I think I've covered everything. I don't know what I was trying to say there. In my opinion, doesn't quite live up to the cult status. It could have been paced a lot better. It's gory in places. It's like I say, there's one scene in particular. I'm digressing here. There's one scene in particular where one of the girls gets brutally stabbed, and she's trying to reach for the microphone for the tannoy in the shopping mall, but you just see the blood, and that's pretty gory. And like I said, there was a lot of cuts by the BBFC, and I think the reason for that, especially for this scene, is that it's intercut with a couple having sex in the shopping mall, and for the BBFC, sex and violence was a no-no. Even though nobody is being raped, just the fact that there's a sex scene happening at the same time as a murder, it's like, I don't know if in their mind they thought that somebody was, jacking it, and could be jacking to the murder and the sex at the same time, so they think, oh, this guy gets off the rape. I don't know if that's their I would imagine that's their way of thinking, because they were idiots. The people making these decisions, they were idiots. They didn't, especially, like I say, the whole going back to the fork thing, the mini pitchfork garden. It's a garden utensil. They didn't like murders with things that could be easily accessible to the public. Things like chainsaws and pitchforks and hoes and all the rest of it. They didn't like that because thought, oh, imitable behaviour, which is bullshit. If you see somebody being stabbed with a fucking fire poker, you're not going to go, oh, a fire poker, I'm going to kill my next door neighbour. It's craziness. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy my next reviews. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me why you liked it. That's another thing. Just because I dislike a film, I like hearing other people's comments that oppose it, and I'm always willing to discuss it, I'll never look down on anybody that disagrees with me. In fact, quite the opposite. I like to hear why you like something I don't like, and why you do like something I don't like, and if I had to rate this, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 10. I wasn't a big fan of it. I also want to add that being set in a shopping centre, it's kind of reminded me a little bit of Dawn of the Dead and Chopping Mall and Night of the Comet, but it's nowhere near as fun, entertaining, or as good as any of them. It's my 4th best shopping mall film. But to each their own. If you enjoyed it, please let me know, and let me know what you enjoyed about it, and I'll respect your opinion, and yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. See you again. Bye.